On this exact day 15 years ago, October 25th, 2009, I uploaded my very first review on this channel. Hey everyone, this is GFrom bringing you my first video game review. It covered the first game I remember playing in the early 90s, the Mega Drive classic Sonic the Hedgehog. To celebrate the occasion, I thought it would be lovely to review another Sonic game. I'm doing these chronologically based on their European release date. Last time I did Triple Trouble, so now what? Parked next in line is Sonic Drift Racing on the Sega Game Gear, also known as Sonic Drift 2 in Japan. Wait a minute. Sonic Drift 2? What happened to 1? There's a quite nerdy explanation. You see, the original Sonic Drift was released in March of 1994 between Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles. It's actually the first 8-bit Sonic game that wasn't ported to the Master System, but it was only released in Japan. Yeah, that's right, the West didn't get to play Sonic Drift until it was crammed on Sonic Adventure DX for the GameCube in 2003. Personally, I first played it on the Sonic Mega Collection Plus for the PlayStation 2, which came out a year later. Sonic Drift Racing, on the other hand, Sonic Drift 2, saw the light of day in early '95. That game didn't make it onto the Mega Collection, but instead the Sonic Gems Collection. I guess it would have made too much sense to put the Japanese exclusive on Gems and the game that already got a release here on Mega. I have an even better idea. A wild idea. Why not put them together in the same collection? Luckily, Sega listened to me. They've come to their senses and now both are included in Sonic Origins Plus. Anyway, instead of giving each of them their own video, I think it makes sense to review both of them now. How do these old-ass racing games hold up 20 years after their release? You better fasten your seatbelt. It's safer that way.
GFrom, the gamer, the legend, he's come to show you the way in this world of games. GFrom reviews.
The original Sonic Drift was inspired by the Nintendo powerhouse Super Mario Kart, one of my most beloved Super Nintendo games. The one that spawned a whole ass franchise. You'd be surprised how little Drift ultimately shares with it. This is more similar to Sega's super scalar games like Outrun. I didn't play too many of them, but one of my favorites as a kid was Super Monaco GP. I was horrible at it, but that didn't stop me from loving it. On Game Boy, I also played a ton of Nigel Mansell's World Championship Racing, so I'm familiar with racing games from that time period, even on handhelds.
But what exactly is a superscaler?
To quote GiantBomb.com, it's a series of arcade system boards and graphic engines developed by Sega to produce advanced three-dimensional sprite scaling graphics. Capable of scaling/rotating thousands of sprites, superscalers produced the most advanced sprite-based graphics. It was an early form of 3D texture mapping. On Mega Drive, this looked awesome. On Game Gear, well, it's fast, I'll give it that.
I'm really reaching for the positive. But let's go over the basics first.
Sonic Drift has 3 modes. Chaos GP has 3 different circuits, green, yellow and red, with 6 race courses each. Winning a race gives you 3 points, placing second gives you 2 and so on. Then there's Free Run, which is basically time attack. Here you can try to beat the best time on all of the 18 courses. What irks me is that you can't enter your name. How do I know which time is mine? Major flaw.
Plus, I don't believe this game had battery backup, so it didn't save your time anyway.
It's kinda like playing arcade ports on the early handhelds, where the high score gets wiped out every time you power off. Then there's Versus.
Back then you needed 2 Game Gears and 2 Sonic Drift cartridges. That means on PS2 it wasn't possible to play.
In Sonic Origins Plus they made it possible to play this mode, so hooray! In the options menu you only get to listen to music and choose the difficulty between normal and hard. Time to meet our 4 characters, and believe it or not, they actually play differently from each other. Our blue main man Sonic apparently drives in a giant shoe.
Hey!
G-Dog!
Why does Sonic need a car? He's the fastest thing alive. Yeah, exactly. How fair would that be if you just ran past everybody?
His car has good speed and acceleration, but cornering isn't that great. Tails on the other hand is slower, but his cornering is smoother. This is the first time in the series we get to play as both Eggman and Amy.
I usually refer to the scientist as Robotnik, but this being a Japanese exclusive on release, I'm saying Eggman today.
His acceleration is terrible, but his speed's high. Last but not least, Amy's acceleration is good compared to her low max speed. The courses seem awfully familiar. Surely enough, they're based on the 6 levels from the original Sonic the Hedgehog, starting with Green Hill and ending with Scrap Brain. All 3 circuits have the same themes, but the actual tracks differ. So there's 3 versions of Green Hill, Marble, and so on. Controls are fairly simple from a controller layout perspective, given that the Game Gear only has 2 buttons. 2 accelerates and 1 brakes.
Now I've only tried Sonic Drift a few times over the years and never gave it a fair shot. It usually went like this.
I started the green circuit feeling nice and sunny and immediately ran into a gauntlet of signs. Crash, crash.
That was enough for me to chuck the game away and play something else.
What I didn't realize at the time is that you can drift by pressing 1 and 2 simultaneously.
What? I can drift in a game called Sonic Drift? What madness is this?
It completely changes the game for me. In fact, it makes the game ridiculously easy at times. But don't hold your drift for too long or you'll spin out and come to a halt. Drift owes a lot to Super Mario Kart, and nothing proves that better than the items. These are scattered throughout the tracks, but it works a little differently here. They trigger on impact, so instead of picking them up and storing them for later, you just get one shot. The spring will bounce you in the air, which is especially handy right before corners. It's like the game guides you through them and it prevents you from going off track. The red TV monitors give you a brief speed boost. The blue monitor is my favorite because it makes you invincible like a bat out of hell. Nothing can stop you except if you spin out while drifting. Then you've got rings. At the cost of 2 rings, you get to pull off a special power by pressing up on the D-pad. Every character has a unique special power. Sonic has the dash, which totally dominates in free run. Tails has a jump, which again can be used to your advantage in hopping corners. Eggman drops a mine. If another racer touches it, they lose rings and spin uncontrollably. I've never seen this happen though, which tells you how effective this move is. Amy's special power has the harrowing name Heart Attack. It's not as bad as it sounds. She literally throws little pink hearts, similar to the mines. Players get slowed down by the sappy power of love and also have the control inputs reversed for a bit. This too I've never seen in action. So basically, I feel that Eggman and Amy's power-ups are completely useless in single player. Also, if you're not fast enough while throwing them, you take a hit yourself, which is bullshit.
I think I've covered the basics, so how was my experience with this game?
I zoomed through every course with every character at least once, and for the most part I can say that it's a breeze. Only twice did I lose the course, and usually I even racked up the maximum of 18 points, on normal and hard. I didn't really notice a difference between the 2 difficulty settings. Once you're in first place and you've mastered the drifting, the opponents won't catch up to you. They're eating your pixely dust. The hard part is getting past the other racers. I often crashed into the car in front of me, throwing off my momentum. There isn't too much room to get by them on such a narrow track. On the other hand, they can crash into you when they overtake. Eggman, for example, starts so damn slow that he always gets crashed into if I don't steer to the side immediately. Move, you stupid yolk sack! Speaking of which, I hate playing as him. The other 3 I can deal with, but his slow acceleration drives me nuts. Plus, with no other character did I spin out this often. I'm not sure where that is. Maybe it's a sprite problem. With this guy, you've got an awkward round eggmobile that hardly seems to animate when you turn, compared to the other characters with their normal looking vehicles that actually respond to your input. I can't even tell when he's turning. Even though Sonic and Tails have the best power-ups, I liked playing as Amy the most. She's not the fastest, not exactly a pink blur, but I had the least amount of accidents with her. It's a smooth ride. Mostly. Like with other racing games from that time, you really have to get used to the gameplay. When do I start to press right to handle the curb? When do I let go? How much speed is too much? Do I brake or just let go of the throttle? Maybe push both buttons at once? It's something you need to get a feel for, and for me that came quickly. Except for Eggman. He and I are incompatible. One thing that annoys me is that the opponents always finish in the same order. Like there's a predestined order based on your own performance. That makes it extremely predictable.
So you know what happens when all you do is win, 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 no matter what? it gets old.
I can have fun with this game for short bursts, but it runs out of steam beyond that. Maybe it'd be a different story if there was more variety from a visual standpoint. Sure, the 3 Starlight tracks have a different layout, but it looks the same and ultimately feels the same. Recycled. The later tracks have sharper turns and the difficulty rises slightly. Due to technical limitations, they probably couldn't do much more, so I won't crap on it too much. Winning the green and yellow courses only give you this disappointing screen. Only after winning the red course do you get something different. Every character gets a little animation. Eggman's ending actually gave me a good chuckle. And Amy? Girl, what's the matter with you? Didn't we talk about this toxic relationship thing? Now where's that restraining order?
Often Sonic games win me over with their music. Even rotten entries usually have a superb soundtrack.
This one is okay at best, but absolutely nothing I would listen to in my free time. Some tracks I find annoying, Marble being the worst offender. The high-pitched chirping makes me feel uncomfortable. Starlight fit the setting quite nicely in the beginning until it went off the rails and got too hectic for my taste. Of the level tracks, I probably like Green Hill the most because it's bassier. A track that I surprisingly love is Invincibility. Out of my way, bitches, nothing can stop me, except myself. By the way, is it just me or does the character select tune sound like a tuned down version of Mario's Star theme? After playing 108 races, yes, I counted those triple digits, I can safely say that I'm not a fan. I do not hate Sonic Drift and it's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it's far from great. There's just too little variety to keep my interest. The visuals are fine for their time for what it's worth. Gameplay and music are mediocre at best, however. There's nothing to unlock either, so it lacks replay value.
Let's hope the sequel does more for me.
At first sight, little has changed. It's the same 3 modes. You'll quickly discover that they actually added a few things. Let's talk characters. In GP, you can pick who you want to compete against, or you could let the AI choose for you, in case you're indecisive today. 3 new racers have joined the roster. Knuckles the Echidna, Fang the Sniper, formerly known to Europeans as Knack the Weasel, and Metal Sonic. Knuckles pretty much plays like Tails in this game. A medium racer on all fronts and his power-up is Jump. There's one twist though. Use the power-up near an opponent, BAM! He punches them in the face. This is by far my favorite attack. It rips through enemies, and how can you resist such pure aggression? Fang plays like Sonic, but he throws these gross oil balls that make others spin out of control. Finally, Metal Sonic is the fastest of them all, but his handling is the worst. His power-up is the expensive Super Dash, which is so amazing that it costs 3 rings. Whereas I never saw any of the other races get affected by my weapons in the original, here they actually do the job. The items from Drift 1 return, even if some look different. New is the Flash, which whites out the entire screen for a sec, and Reverse, which, surprise, reverses your movement for a set window of time. This time you finally hold on to the items from the TV monitor, similar to Super Mario Kart.
As soon as you touch another item, however, you lose an active power-up. I'll give you an example.
I feel this is a great time to activate my invincibility, but I immediately drive into a spring and lose it. Can't say I like this mechanic. For me, the biggest difference to its predecessor comes from the track variety. Every GP is completely different and only 4 of the tracks have duplicate versions. That means there are 14 different locations. Some hail from Sonic 2 like Emerald Hill and Casino Night. Sonic 3 is represented by Ice Cap. Many are unique to this game, which makes it a lot less monotonous visually. Some are even linear. In stages like Dark Valley, you can actually fall off the track, Rainbow Road style. It takes forever for the metal crane to lift you back up, even worse than Lucky 2. Mystic Cave and Quake Cave do their names justice, as they make you race through long tunnels. The flickering effect is kinda messing with my eyes.
This was clearly not made with big HD TVs in mind.
Now we arrive at obstacles and stage hazard. karts. They add much needed challenge, but also aggravate me to no end. Take the ramps in Hilltop for example. Driving over them just makes you leap, but touching the sides will slow you down. Given that they're all over the place, this becomes an exercise in misery. Casino Night might stoop even lower with its overuse of bobbins and bumpers. In Iron Ruin, a freaking mecha vulture attacks you. Just swerve from side to side until he just bails. It's possible to turn off enemies in the menu. My most hated track by far is Rainy Savannah. Just look at it. Every few seconds lightning strikes and makes the whole screen go white. Whose idea was this? It's so awful and legit makes me feel queasy. Make it stop. In Dark Valley, sometimes wind will push you off the edge with zero warning. You don't see it, and similar to Deathwind in F-Zero, it feels like an invisible, godlike force pulling you to your demise. Balloon Panic is super annoying too. The usual items have given away to balloons of different colors. Which balloons do what? Have fun finding that out by trial and error, unless you want to waste your time looking up balloons on the internet. Emerald Ocean stands out because it takes place on the surface of water. That means if you don't keep up your speed, you'll sink. My favorite track might be Milky Way. Sure, the effect with the stars is awkward at best, but I like the setting and the meteorites you have to dodge. But how does the game actually play? Well, I'm not sure if it's just my imagination, but I feel the controls are a little better. I have less problems with hairpin corners, and there's no character that pisses me off like Eggman did in Drift 1. Single player is a lot tougher though. Why? The opponents have better AI.
Or in other words,
They cheat.
Don't believe me? Well, the official term would be rubber banding, meaning AI characters get a boost when they fall behind. But let me tell you, here it's ridiculous. On the map you can see just how fast they get. No power-up gives you a speed boost for that long. They just have rocket fuel or something. When that happens, I just know, oh, the game decided I'm not allowed to win.
I don't deserve nice things.
I can't tell you how many times I lost at the very last second despite driving a close to perfect race. It's infuriating, especially when my own speed boost can't keep up with them either. Not even when I'm playing as Metal Sonic. That's why I love Knuckles. When they try to take over, I just punch their teeth out like a schoolyard bully. So whereas I won almost every GP in Drift 1, here I had to fight for it. It's a fight I didn't always win. At least the opponents don't finish the race in the same order every time, so it's less yawn-inducing. But it's not like you get anything fancy for winning a GP anyway, at least on purple and white. Now if you win every single track on blue, you get to face either Sonic or Eggman in a final race, depending on if you're playing a good or a bad guy. But it's just the last track again, so it's nothing too exciting. Although I have to say that it's a worthy finale because the twists and turns here are insane. What do you get for winning the final race? This screen. Wow. I mean, the reward in Drift 1 wasn't spectacular, but at least it was technically a reward. This is nothing. I stare into the void and see myself. The music manages to be less to my taste than before. A lot of the songs just sound subpar. I know the Game Gear is capable of better stuff. Here it just doesn't sit right. High pitches and tedious melodies drag the experience down for me even more. Balloon Panic might be the worst offender. Awful. Clowncore. There are two exceptions. Iron Ruin is darker in tone and actually sounds appropriate in places. Milky Way, on the other hand, is an amazing fanfare. What a change in quality. Without a doubt, the single best song of the two games. The game gets bonus points for including 2 tracks from Sonic 3, Invincibility and the boss theme.
Even though Drift 2 addresses some of my criticism towards the first game, I'm afraid I like it even less.
Yes, it's more varied and it definitely looks better. I mean, some of the backgrounds and level designs are really cool. The character selection is even pretty satisfying. But man, I don't like playing it. It gets stale at the 10-minute mark, and it doesn't help that I played every single GP with every character plus every track on free run once. That's 144 races, man. Enough for a lifetime. The unfair AI, annoying stage hazards, and atrocious music make it a lesser game for me, despite the slightly better controls, visuals, and more characters. But wait a second, I haven't talked about the versus yet.
Believe it or not, I actually found someone who was willing to play both games with me. Not you.
He had never played either of them before, and it was hard for him to get into the controls. The first game lets you play every track, and there's nothing new to say really. The items are more effective in this mode, but other than that, it's the same old shit. The race only ends when the second player crosses the finish line, which some might find humiliating. Like a drive of shame. We played all the tracks and I won every single one of them. No wonder, I've had some practice. For some reason, the versus mode in Drift 2 only lets you play 6 of the 18 tracks. Why? That's such a downgrade. Anyway, I've got nothing to add other than that here the races end once the first player finishes. I managed to win 4-2. But let's ask my friend how he liked the experience.
So, how did you like these games?
Scheiße.
Scheiße.
In conclusion, after playing a total of 276 races for this video, I can safely say that I have no desire to experience either of them ever again. I think even for their time they weren't anything special and the replay value is low. Even though the second game should be better on paper, I enjoyed the first one more because it was less frustrating. They're not even like the worst games in the series or anything.
Sega didn't release Drift 1 outside of Japan because of its lack of quality. And they still made a sequel?
Let's look at the games I've reviewed so far. I'd play Sonic Drift just above 8-bit Sonic Spinball, and Sonic Drift 2 second to last above the atrocity that is Sonic 2 on Game Gear. Drift 1 is an unremarkable little racer that isn't good by any means, and Drift 2 just pisses me off. That pretty much sums it up.
Both don't take away from my love for this franchise. Nothing can spoil it.
Even 15 years after my very first review, I can't get enough of talking about even the most obscure games in the history of the Blue Blur.
Let's just hope the next entries have more going for them than Drift 1 and 2.
So, how did you like this game?
Scheiße.
So, how did you like these games?
Scheiße.
So, how did you like these games?
Scheiße. Junge, einmal mit Fuß.
So, how did you like these games?
Scheiße.
Scheiße.
Hey everyone, this is GFrom. Thank you so much for watching episode 10 of season 4. Feel free to rate, comment, subscribe and follow me on social media. I'll see you later. Have a nice day.